Hey guys, Michelle from Michelle's Craft Corner here, and in today's video we're going to be making this fun graduate card using some targeted embossing, our Stamparatus, and the awesome Letters for You photopolymer dies. Let's get started. So here's a close-up of that card we're going to be making today. A really simple graduation card. Now I absolutely love this fun technique where we're just embossing on part of the letters. Now with this technique you could do any number of other words for different occasions, so maybe somebody's name. But really excited about this one. So it's really simple to make. So for this we are going to be using Night of Navy, both the ink and the cardstock. We're going to be using some Whisper White, 2 sheets, cut at 5 by 3 3/4 for the front and the inside. There. For our letters, we're going to be using the Letters for You photopolymer stamps. So these are great to use with our Stamparatus and gives you a whole lot of options for different things that you can do. We're also going to be using a little strip of the glimmer paper, the gold glimmer paper. It's so shiny, so pretty. This is cut at 2 by 4 1/4. We're going to be using a little bit of scrap of the basic black. So this is for our graduation hat. I'll stick that right there. Okay. The tailored tag punch. We're going to be using this to make our fun graduation hat. And then for our embossing, we're going to be using the Versamark and some gold embossing powder. So I just put it in this container. It doesn't come in that container. Okay, and then last for our tassel, I'm going to be using some retired Stampin' Up twine that I just happen to have on hand, but we'll show you how to make this, and you can really use any of the baker's twine that you might have handy. So we've got a whole bunch of different color options in the current catalog that you could use. Alright, so you guys got all of that? Let's get started. So we'll move this stuff off the side here. So the last and I guess kind of most important thing we're going to be using is our Stamparatus today, and I absolutely love this thing. It's amazing. So amazing. We'll stick that guy there. Okay. And without this, this technique would have been really hard to do. So let me get this. Oh, that's in the way. Alright, so we're going to take our piece of Whisper White, and this yet again is cut at 5 by 3 3/4, and we're going to stick it on our Stamparatus. Now for my Stamparatus, I have this little handy guide because it doesn't like to stamp particularly cleanly if you're really close to the edge. So giving it that little guide kind of helps it from getting stuck too close to the edge. So we're going to just line that up and stick our little magnet down. And I have found that the photopolymers tend to be a little stickier than our clear. So for this one, I'm actually going to use 2 magnets. Generally, I try only to use 1 if I can help it, just because you don't want them to get together. They tend to break. All right, then we've got our Night of Navy. Now I went ahead and pre-laid these on there, but just so you guys know, when doing your letters, you would want to line it up on the paper, just like that, wherever you want it to be. And then you're going to fold this over and pick it up. And that, of course, is not even now. Okay. There we go. And press and pick it up off the paper. And then it'll be aligned exactly where you want it. And I'm going to scoot it a little bit. Okay. So that's how we go ahead and get that placement exactly perfect. All right, so first step is we're going to take our Night of Navy ink and just go ahead and ink it up. Now I know mine does look a little stained because I did the black one last, so I'm just going to add it straight on there just like so. Give it a little press. Now you do want to kind of press it all over because sometimes the magnets will affect how it sits. So peel it up and up. Look at there, I did not add enough ink. Wonderful thing with the Stamparatus, you can just do it again because the stamp did not move. So we'll just try that again real quick. Give it another little press. There's that D and that G, I think that. R. Go. It's probably good. All right, there we go. So we've got our grad on there. Now it will look a little whitewashed. See how the D is? It's actually supposed to be that way. I know some people were asking if that's a issue with manufacturing. Just be in the know that they're not solid letters. They do have some of that texture to them. All right, so when doing this technique, especially if you're doing the ink first, you want to do a Versamark pad that you don't mind getting a little gooky. So you can see I've done this a few times and it does tend to stain. So as long as you know that that's going to happen and designate your Versamark for that, you should be good. So now we're only going to ink up, let me scoot this a little bit, okay. So we're only going to ink up about half of the letters straight across with our Versamark pad. So just adding that Versamark on there, straight across. Okay, just like that. And then yet again, folding it over and giving it that press down. Now, this is clear, so you're not going to be able to see it probably in the video. Yeah, you're not going to be able to see that in the video. Okay, I'm going to take this off here. Well, I don't know, maybe you can kind of see there's a little bit of a shine to it. But you should be able to see once we add the embossing powder. Now, I personally prefer putting my embossing powder in like smaller containers. So I can just have the spoon handy and just kind of sprinkle it across. So we're just going to sprinkle it across. That Versamark is going to hold that embossing powder where we added it. Just like that. Dip it back in the jar. Make sure I got all my spots really good. And wipe off any little excess on the side. All right, now we're just going to take our, well, move that back out of the way. We're going to take our heating tool and just heat it up. There you can see we've got our gold just part of that way. Now, if you, like me, might look at that and be like, oh, I didn't quite get enough, thankfully we still have our Stamparatus set up, so you can stick it back in there, add some more Versamark, re-ink it and re-emboss it and kind of get whatever areas that you may want. But I think that's going to be good for now, so we're just going to go with it. So move this guy off to the side. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and add our card base. So you can see this comes together really quickly. So yet again, we've got our strip of the glimmer paper, 2 by 4 1/4. If you don't have that, you could also do the foil as well. So we're just going to add that to the side. I just like to leave a little bit of that Night of Navy edge there. Just like that. And then we're going to add our grad on there. Just like that. And then, of course, our cute little graduation hat, which I like to put on the R. Now, if you are not familiar with making tassels or doing the little graduation hat, I do have to give a shout out to my fellow demonstrator, Carol from Carol B Crafts, and I will have a link for her video as well. So she was the one that came up with the idea of making these adorable little graduation caps using the tag punch. So if you want to see her video, I will have that link. But just to finish off the card, we would just be adding the hat. So let me go ahead and show you how to do that real quick. So we're going to be using that tag punch for that tailored tag, and just our little scrap of basic black. And you're going to want to punch 2 of these out. Really quick and easy. I've got an extra one already sitting over here. So 2 of them out. One is going to be for the top diamond and one is going to be for the base. So for the diamond, now she used a scrap of paper. I'm just going to use a post-it note because I always have post-it notes about. And we're going to line it up. We'll slide it back in. So the post-it note is really just kind of a handle. Put this over the white so you guys can see it. So we're going to slide it in. Okay. And you want the corner, the top, whichever top you want, top corners lined up with these 2 corners to make that diamond. And it's not an exact science, but it's a pretty good little diamond. And then once you've got it lined up, we're just going to give it a little press. And boom, there we have our little diamond for the top. And it leaves you with a fun little chevron, which you could do a project with if you want. All right, and then for the base of the hat, we're going to use our other little piece and our paper snips. And this is going to be the inside, so it's going to sit like that. And we're just going to cut a curve into it. Now, if you want, you could use a punch. So if you wanted to use a circle punch, but just for speed's sake, this is just as easy. So there we go. So we're just going to kind of cut a curve into that so you can kind of see how that looks. All right, so that is our hat base. Let me straighten that up a little. Okay, just like that. Now for the little topper, if you have the circle punch, Stampin' Up circle punch, or a standard hole punch will work, or you could do any number of other circle sizes. Now I know that that little dot on the top of the hat may be a little hard to see in the video, but it's just basically that, and it's for holding our tassel in place. So we'll just glue the base on real quick, and then we'll get to the tassel. So just like that, real simple, easy. Put my dot off to the side. Now for the tassel, now some of you may be already familiar with making tassels for other projects, but it's really pretty simple. Now this is just some white baker's twine that I had, and since it's white, I'm going to do it top of the black, so maybe that'll show up a little better. There we go. All right, so when doing a tassel, first thing, you want to have a good piece to start with. Keep in mind you can always trim it down later. And we're going to wrap it around our fingers. You can do 1 or 2 or 3 fingers, just a few times, just like that. Okay. So we kind of have this nice little loop, just like that. You guys can see that. It's kind of a little mess. All right. Then I'm going to get a piece which... Oh, there it is. Okay, it slid under the paper. Okay. So we also sell this wonderful magnetic, metallic thread. It's thinner than the baker's twine. You can see just how much thinner it is. So it's really good for tying really small knots for your tassels. Now, if you don't have any of this, you could do the same thing with the baker's twine. It's just going to be a thicker tassel when you're done. All right, so we're going to take our little circle here. Okay. course it unwound on me, but that's okay. All right, so then I'm going to slide it in the hole and tie a knot, which I know may be kind of hard to see, but I'll try to do it best I can. And I did cut a bigger piece of the metallic than I really need. Okay, so just like that. I don't know if you guys can see that. There we go. So just like that. I personally like to double tie it, but single will work too. Let's do an extra little tie real quick. Alright, we got that. Now we're going to take another piece, and yeah, this is really just too long. Cut that down a little. Okay, so we're going to take another piece of our thinner twine. Find the edge. There's the edge. Okay. Slightly longer piece, and we're going to take it, we're going to pull up our little top knot, and we're going to make kind of a little bunch. That makes sense, if you can see that little loop, and we're going to tie our next piece of thread around that and wrap it a whole bunch of times. And this kind of just gives us the top. Sorry, I keep trying to pull it off the camera and closer to me. This just kind of makes that nice top knot, top edge. Actually, what I'm going to do, this will be easier. All right. I'm just going to take a piece of washi tape real quick and tape this down because it keeps wanting to move on me. Okay. That should be easier. All right. Okay, so we've got our little bunch. Tie another little knot. Or we can just go ahead and wrap it a few times and then do the knot. Hopefully my fingers are not getting in the way too much so you guys can actually kind of see this. This is a little tricky to do, so small. Got it. All right, so once you have your little knot, then we're just going to take it and wrap that extra ribbon around a whole bunch of times. This is trickier to do when you're trying to show the camera too. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so I think what was throwing me off was having the 2 strings, so I just cut one off. But anyway, just for speed's sake, and the fact that this is really hard to see in the video, which may... Okay, still recording. All right. So you're going to wrap the smaller piece around several times to make that little bunch right there. You guys can see that. and then just tie it off with a nice knot. Right, and then we're going to cut our strings and just kind of straighten them up a little bit so they're nice and even. And you want them to be proportional to the size of the hat. And then you don't have to, but you can also fray out those individual pieces so it kind of has more of a tassel-y look, or you can leave them as individual strands. Now, to attach to our hat, I just like to use the little mini glue dots. They're just so quick and easy. So we're just going to peel one off and stick it smack in the center. And then we're going to take our tassel and give it a little bit extra room to hang off, but just press it onto that glue dot. And then stick our little black top of the hat dot right on top of it to kind of hold it in place. And you trim off the excess that may be sticking out, just like that. And I will finish wrapping that in a bit. But that's the basic for how you do the hat, and hopefully my tying a tiny knot on camera wasn't too annoying for everybody. But as I said earlier, once you have your hat done, you're just going to attach it straight onto our card using a little bit more of that liquid glue. And if you are not a fan of the cute little graduation hat, I mean, this would still be a nice card even without it. Just like that. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed my fun graduation card. For all the direct links to all the products used, check out the comments in the video below. I always have all of those there. I'm just kind of saving time not doing post-its in this one. Thanks for watching. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And we will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.